Hello YouTube, this is Jadic Brutang, and I'm doing a review of the Digital Storm x17 third tier, I believe, model laptop. I'm going to be also comparing this laptop to the Alienware M17X R3, which I also previously owned, and then I returned it, and then I got the Digital Storm. And just to prove that, here's this quick video right now. So, after many years of difficulty, I've finally gotten people to help me with my new Alienware computer. Just had to get that in the video. I don't know if you can see that, but some guy right now is putting all the drivers onto my computer, some guy that works for Alienware. Hopefully it'll work after this, because when I first got it, all my games ran terrible. Okay, so for hardware for the X17, it's a 17-inch monitor, so it's about 11 pounds, I think. For mine, I upgraded the RAM, so I got 12 gigs of DDR3. And it's at 1300 megahertz. 500 gig hard drive, which is a little small, but that's not a big deal because I have a couple external hard drives I'm going to be taking with me to college anyways. We got the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 560M, which is a pretty good laptop graphics card. Windows 7 Home Premium. And a big selling factor for me was the Sandy Bridge model, the Intel Core i7 2820QM. It's 8 CPUs with 2.3 gigahertz for each CPU, and they can be boosted to 3.4 with overclocking, which is pretty nice in comparison to the Alienware that I previously owned. It was a Core i7, but I think it was the 26 something model, and each core was or each CPU, I believe, was about 2.0, so it's a pretty significant step up. And the prices of the laptop, it went from the Alienware, which was about $2,400, to the Digital Storm, which was only $2,100 when you add the warranties and all that stuff. So Digital Storm's a pretty good deal in comparison. You lose a lot of flash that you have with Alienware, like LEDs and light up keyboard and all stuff like that, but if you want more power, then you can save a little bit of money going Digital Storm to get rid of some of that flash. Okay, here's a laptop, the Digital Storm X17. It's, I think, alloy finish, something like that. It's pretty sleek, smudges a little bit, but it wipes away with a cloth. Alright, this is it opened up. See, with the Alienware, all this would be lit up, none of that. There would be big lights right here. If that's not something you're into or something you really care about, then Digital Storm is definitely the way to go. Now the big point. How it runs games, which is most important. It runs games really well, surprisingly, for a laptop. Because usually everyone says there are some laptop that are desktop replacements, but in my opinion, that's pretty much not true. It's really tough to get a good laptop that'll run high-end games, and this is definitely one that actually does. When I got it, no problems whatsoever. Didn't even have to update the video drivers, anything like that. It was ready to go, unlike with my Alienware, which had a ton of problems to start with, but I'll explain that later. Let's see how it runs some games. I'll do a Crisis single-player demo. Unfortunately, my Fraps hasn't been working lately, so I'm not going to get an exact frame rate from it, but it runs pretty smooth regardless. And On completely maxed out, it's a little choppy, so I just do mostly high settings, which for a laptop is impressive nonetheless. It runs the game great, all high settings, no frame rate issues. It's about 30 frames per second. On the camera it looks like there's a little glare, but when it's actually in front of you there's no glare at all, which is kind of weird, probably just my camera being weird or something like that. But no frame rate drops even when action parts ensue. It looks great though, visually. The monitor is very high res. One of the best monitors I've seen on a laptop actually. No frame rate issues, anything like that. Okay, so now I'm going to wrap this up. What it comes with when you first buy it. Not much, just the power cable, the Windows 7 disc. One thing that I was actually pretty surprised by is it comes with a carrying case for it, which is pretty awesome. That'll be really helpful for me when I'm in college, stuff like that. Some side notes, doesn't have Optimus technology, which is the thing that when you're not using the graphics card, like if you're just doing word processing or something like that, it'll automatically switch off the NVIDIA GPU, which I don't really care about, but some people, it's for saving battery power, so if that's something you really need, then I don't know how long the battery would last, but probably not that long, because it's a big laptop and it's a pretty heavy-duty graphics card in there. How it runs other games other than just Crysis. Every game I've tried playing on it, it's run it perfectly fine. Metro 2033, there were no frame rate issues. It runs, some games you have to fiddle with the settings a little bit, but all games, they look good. Nothing below high settings for any game I've played so far, and it'll be at 30 to 50 frames per second. Games like Team Fortress 2, it'll be, I don't even know, like 200 frames per second, something ridiculous like that. Unreal Tournament 3 was running at like 80 frames per second. Black Ops was running at like 50 frames per second. It runs every game perfectly fine. Now to compare to the Alienware. The Alienware was much more expensive. The one I purchased had the NVIDIA GTX 460M, I believe, which was a step down. Had a worse processor, had less RAM, but it was much more expensive. So I guess sometimes you pay for the name a little bit. And that's pretty much it. So, not to mention, my Alienware never ended up working. So yeah. It was so many things wrong with it, I don't even know where to begin. But it never worked. It would never be able to work. It was impossible to fix. There were so many things wrong with it. I might as well just should have gotten a new one. But then they told me I had to pay for the parts because the price of parts went up, so I just returned the laptop. So basically, but another thing, two of my buddies that are also, they also bought Alienwares, the same exact model that I bought, and both of theirs worked fine. So what I'd recommend is, if you just want a good laptop, gaming for college or something like that, Digital Storm's the way to go, because you save money, you get more power, and they test their laptops before they send it to you. It's going to work. There's no doubt about it. They package it well, everything like that. So it's a great deal with Digital Storm. But then on the other hand, Alienware, I wouldn't recommend buying an Alienware to anyone that doesn't have a lot of knowledge about computers, because I was getting into a lot of computer stuff. I had to go through the BIOS a bunch of times. I had to test the GPUs, find out the temperatures, all stuff like that. You need to know a lot about computers to be able to work with an Alienware. And then they might not work. That's another thing. It's kind of a mixed bag. You might get one that works fine, you might not. and their customer support was pretty much terrible. They had no clue what they were talking about. I had to correct them on a lot of things, and a huge selling point for me was Digital Storm's entire tech support is based in the United States, whereas Alienware is like, I don't even know, some foreign country. So you'll be dealing with people that speak perfect English and most likely know what they're talking about, unlike with Alienware. So yeah, if it was me, I would tell you to buy Digital Storm. That's just my opinion. My buddies would probably tell you to buy an Alienware. But if you want more power, less price, Digital Storm's the way to go. Overall, for this laptop, couldn't ask for anything better. If you're thinking about buying the X17 Digital Storm, do it. Don't buy an Alienware, because it might not work, and you'll probably have to mess around with it a little bit anyways, just because Alienware is kind of a crappy brand to begin with. So, don't pay for the name, buy Digital Storm.